and we are about to get started. Oh, they changed this button. Now it says slideshow, apparently. So I'll start by welcoming everybody to this February 16th Helpful Village release webinar. I'm happy to see you all here. And then we have an agenda for this meeting, which is essentially the news, some reminders, there is some training and things that are important. And then there is a demo that we'll be showing today. First thing that I wanted to have in the news is that, as you all know, the big news this week is that it's the 20th anniversary of the Village movement. So there was a big party and celebration yesterday with Beacon Hill and the Village to Village network. I was there and I thought it was fun. So hopefully you went there and also you enjoyed it. And if you did it, you still can celebrate because it's the anniversary for all of us here. We have more news. The news is that we have some new villages joining this month, and the new villages are it's funny because I think they call themselves SLO Village. I was saying SLO is San Luis Obispo, California, but it's kind of it's a fun name. And then the other one is Ashland at Home in Ashland, Oregon, Southern Oregon. Both interesting villages. Ashland, I know they went on a hiatus for the pandemic for a little while. I think a whole year. But now, boom, they are relaunching operations and they wanted to have kind of a technology that would allow them to run their operations easier. So we are very happy that they chose Helpful Village to run their operations. So welcome to the new villages. I think I saw someone from SLO in the meeting. So thank you for being here. This is a quick reminder in the news. I think we discussed about this, but I received a fellowship from the American Society on Aging. So we started the program, and these are the people in my cohort. So we started working with this group, and it's been great. We meet every week and basically discussing about how can we do interesting things in aging, and in particular around diversity. So I'm just wanted to share that I'm very lucky to be in this group. So this is very fun. These are pyramid of events. This is what villages do: services, events, check-ins, village talk, and health. So it's just a reminder of our strategy, where we think villages do services and events very well, and we are working with them to improve our village talk modules, the check-ins, and in the future, health module that we're very interested in to do. So that's a reminder too. There are helpful resources that you should know about. First is that there is a release webinar. The next one will be March 16th at 2 p.m. Eastern, the usual time. And then there is a V2V hosted webinar next week on Wednesday at the same time as today. There is a Q&A, so questions and answers. So today's we are presenting, next week is the villages are asking the questions, we're just responding. There is a few resources here: a training docs guide, a help center, Slack. If you don't know any of these resources, you should contact Christina because they are very helpful to find answers to your questions by yourself. For the webinar we're doing next week, so we're lucky that we have Gary Frankel that I saw was on the meeting. So hi, Gary. And he's our national coordinator. He can be reached with this email address, which is hvusers@v2vnetwork.org. So he helps us coordinate the different questions from villages. So, and then all questions are good. So if you have any questions about Helpful Village, you can send to this email address. And we organize these questions, we prepare them ahead of time, and then we try to come up with good answers for next week when we meet again on the 23rd. Is that 23rd? I mean, Wednesday next week. These are other resources. This is how the help center looks like. If you don't know this page, you should also contact Christina because this is a resource you should know about. This is also a great way to submit requests and tickets to our team because you can find some proposed answers that maybe help you find the answer before even you contact our team. There are two channels, one for bugs, that is support.helpfulvillage.com. Another one, if you have ideas for improvement, is a different channel. You need to go to ask.helpfulvillage.com. Wow, Chris, all these are the new reports this month? Down. Okay, wow. So we have a ton of new resources that were prepared. So Christina and Madeline in the team, they're working on this documentation. So basically the tech team works on the improvement. But then these are very useful resources in the Help Center to help explain how these new features work. We will be doing a training today also about email deliverability, what is a complaint, what is a spam folder, what is a bounce, and things like that. But so we explain them in the docs, and we're going to explain it here again in a more interactive version. Well, Chris, you've been working harder than I thought, and I know you work hard, so that's cool. Now, release notes. So these are the improvements this month. And first one is, hi, Mom. This is basically a picture of my mom, but what is interesting to you is actually that we added a slideshow to the web editable pages for the website. So if you are interested in, I'm going to show a demo of this. If you're interested in having some sort of a slideshow with different pictures that you choose of your village, and then, you know, first slide, second slide, third slide, automatic and stuff like that, you can now have that on the website. So you can, I'm going to show it to you how this works, but this is an addition to the editable pages module. We made a slight change here. This is on the preferred providers module. So this is villages that are recommending or you know, providers to their members. So we just changed the label at the top because we had a village that reported. I mean, basically the thing is, like, we have a list of providers per category. So here it can be home healthcare, can be plumbers, can be mortgage lenders, etc. So some villages share this list with their members with different processes. So what I mean is that some villages add that vendor there because a member in their community recommended it and he liked it, so it can be referenced there. Other villages go one step further and they do the vetting of the provider, you know, checking the business license and stuff like that. So today in the database, you already had possibility to say that this one was, you know, visible to members, and if it was screened or not screened. So what we changed here is that for villages that were not screening, we were mentioning the word unscreened, which was a little bit scary because, like, you could make your members think that it's unscreened, so kind of dangerous because you're not recommending it, but that's not the case. So now what we're doing is that we just say it's recommended because it needs to be recommended by someone, and then if on top of that is screened, we will say it's screened, but we're no longer showing unscreened because that was, you know, creating more fear or confusion that we needed to do. So it's just a matter of wording, but we wanted to thank you, the village that raised that, because if you're never screening them, we should just not say unscreened.
Manuel?
Yes.
Your wording, though, for the unscreened vendors is not true for my village, because we actually have a third party that helps us find vendors. So it's not, you know, a village member did not recommend that vendor. So by saying that, you know, they were recommended, anything to do with our members is very untrue for my village.
So how does that's interesting, Don. So, but just wanted to learn more about it. How does a provider get into your list? It's like, who did they contact you?
We actually contact different vendors, depending, some of them are recommended by village members, but a large group of them are actually recommended by somebody who's part of our committee who's not a village member. And then we go through and we actually have to do the whole screening process because we are involved with Avenidas and with them being involved with the city. We have to have way more requirements than, you know, we were just an offset village.
Absolutely. So, and I like it actually that you're vetting, you know, if you have the possibility to do that. So the vetting stays the same. It stays, you know, you still can say that the provider was vetted. So that part is solved. Actually, I think the exact wording that we have is that is recommended by a villager. So I don't think we're saying recommended by a member. So if you're, in your case, if I understand, it was someone from you know, the leadership of the village, was still a villager in my book.
No, it's somebody who's on the committee who's not a member.
Yeah, but I think.
So, I mean, it's very false leading for our members, and you know, when I also need to know when things get changed on the website, because I also have like this whole documentation I send out to our new members, so I need to make sure everything matches. Yeah,
I agree. That definitely, that's what we want to do with the webinar today, and I understand that usually we have it reversed, kind of we announce it and we discuss it in the webinar first, and then we put it on the server. This one went out already because we needed to urgently fix something. So I agree with you. It's not the usual way to do things to put it out before, you know, before you have seen it.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. And then for the specific wording, I may get back to you specifically because, as I say, I don't think we're saying recommended by a member. I think we're saying recommended by a villager. But
Yeah,
I don't
I
know.
mean, and this person's not even, old enough to really kind of be part of the village. She's in her 40s. She's working full time.
Yeah. Well, but that for me, it's still a villager. A lot of villages have volunteers, and for me, members are definitely at the core of the village. But then volunteers, for me, they're also villagers. So if she falls under that category, which I think she does, calling her a villager is not, is still accurate. But obviously, that's my opinion. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, our executive committee disagrees with that.
But then in this case, how would you call it then? Is it recommended by, you just say recommended? Because recommended.
We were perfectly happy with the whole screened, unscreened. But I mean, I understand that you want something nicer to say than unscreened. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's getting a little wordy now by saying, it's screened by the village and, unscreened, and recommended.
Yeah, I think the just to be, accurate for all villages, I think we're saying two things. We say, if it's screened, we say screened with a green label. And then if it's not screened, I think we say recommended by a villager. Now it's more wordy.
If we could just shorten it to recommended.
Okay.
That would be helpful for us.
Yeah. Okay. So I welcome your feedback. So that is less wordy and that's interesting. What I would suggest also is if there is other people, in the meeting, either, they can also express their opinion in the chat. So we'll review all of those. But
yes, Manuel.
Just recommended makes.
On the chat, there's James Lannon that made a comment. I don't know if you want to jump in. And
I mean, you can. I mean, either you read it and you say it, or you bring Jim in. But what I mean is that I don't know if we want to, pitch in 20 of us on just this wording thing on the live session, or only in the chat, Chris, and you receive them. Now, Jim, if you want to, speak up, you can definitely unmute yourself and tell us. Or if we think it's something that can be handled in the chat, can also be handled in the chat.
I personally don't consider these providers as preferred, because we prefer our volunteers to provide services.
Yeah,
these folks are not different from the volunteers, except that they charge money.
Well, that's a big difference.
Yes, but that makes them commercial providers.
They are commercial providers in my book too. Yeah.
Oh, so I would personally prefer you call them commercial providers as opposed to some other kind of provider.
Yeah. So it's interesting because I agree with you. For me, in the helpful village definitions, providers, as we call them, is always professional providers or commercial providers. Now, I think the word preferred that I didn't invent was someone, another village kind of brought that up. It's just because there are other providers in the community, but basically the village is kind of how do you say, curate kind of a selected list of the preferred providers, kind of a list of good providers. You see what I'm saying? So that I think it's preferred, not preferred over the volunteers. It's preferred about, over other providers that have not proven to be as age-friendly or as effective as these ones that are listed here.
Well, Mary suggested that we call them vendors, which is really what they are.
Yes.
And that eliminates the whole argument about providing.
Yeah.
And it,
you know what?
Implies that they sell for money.
Yeah. It's a very interesting point, because I know some people call volunteers also providers, and we made up this difference between providers for me are vendors and the volunteers are volunteers. Now, what I would maybe think is, Don, if you want to come in again, what do you think between the difference between providers and vendors? If you think vendors is more accurate or precise? Or
I think vendors is actually probably more accurate as to what is on that list, because on the list, they are vendors. And that's how we tend to refer to in our village.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, cool. Then, you know what I would say? I kind of like it also, vendors also. So what I mean is that, but I'm always afraid that I can see the positives and I just didn't see some of the negatives. So if someone sees some negatives on counter arguments, they can definitely let us know. I would suggest on the chat if we don't want to spend too much time on here. So maybe at this point, what I wanted to say is that, if someone has a problem with the word vendors, please let us know. And if nobody has problem with vendors, we may change the wording to vendors that is more accurate and precise, maybe. Does that work for everybody? I don't see, and people are muted, so it's kind of weird to ask questions on Zoom sometimes. And because I don't hear anything, I'll move on. I hope you're still there with me. But you know, sometimes these discussions about wording seem like they are not very important. I actually think it's actually very important because it removes a lot of confusion for other people and people that discover the village. So I always welcome these, you know, these suggestions about improving the wording. And sometimes, as you know, English is only my third language. So so sometimes I don't see the nuances in the wording. So you're always welcome to, you know, suggest words and improvements about the wording. So thank you for that. Okay, this is another improvement we did this month. This is Village Talks. So it's a discussion board that we are working on. It's part of the pyramid on the second level. And we are improving it. So we wanted to thank you here, Northwest Village Network, which is a village in Philadelphia that is really helping us improve the tool. Because the tool was not good enough, let's say a few months ago, but now it's really getting interesting. We sent an email out with the content of the discussions, because at the beginning we were sending an email out saying, hey, there is something new on Village Talk, and people had to go to the website, but they helped us understand that some people read their emails and want to be informed, but not necessarily go log into the website. So we're doing improvement like this. Now the email looks way better. It has the content of the message, it's more engaging. People can click on the button and then go to the website to respond and do things like that. They can even respond by email. So so Village Talk is being improved over time. If your village has not tried it, or you want to see the new version that we're doing, we invite you to contact Christina, and we can help you get your Village Talk tests started. We would recommend that you don't start with the whole membership base, you know, 300 members using Village Talk at once. But if you have a group of, you know, active volunteers, or even, you know, just a tech-friendly group or tech-savvy group, or leadership group in your village, if you start, you know, just creating an interest group with 3-4 people, and then you start posting, replying, etc., you start learning how it works, and I think it has a lot of promise. So this is this improvement, I think.
Manuel,
Yes,
so Christina and I started a Village Talk, just the two of us.
that's great.
But I find it very clunky and hard to use, because I will post something and she won't get notified until the next day. Or if she posts something, I don't get notified till the next day. And then I was having trouble posting, which I've never been able to figure out.
Perfect.
But I don't, it doesn't feel like a conversation.
Yeah. So let me tell you. So first, thank you for your feedback, Margie, because this is what we wanted to do. I think it's great that you started only with one person and you started it with Christina, so that you can give us your feedback and what are different ways to improve it. I agree also that we can improve it. Actually, it sounds simple to do this discussion board, but there is a lot of different questions that need to be kind of fine-tuned. One of them is the one that you said, right? Like, well, you wrote a post, someone replies, you want to be notified right away. But it's kind of interesting because that is balanced with the fact that, hey, if we start sending, you know, an email every 10 minutes to 200 members, people are also going to start complaining about, guys, stop spamming me. You see what I'm saying? So we need to find the right amount of notifications and communications back to you, so that you feel, you know, that is engaging enough, but not overwhelmingly kind of spammy or chatty. So the feedback that you're providing here on to Christina, and the same thing with this village in Philadelphia that I was mentioning, they raised the same point. And what we were thinking we would do is that, you know, we don't want to send an immediate, well, first, there's an email summary every day that goes out about 6 a.m., right? So village members, they receive notifications and messages to the groups they are subscribed to. So only their interest group, they don't receive notification, the interest groups they don't like. And from there, they can see the different conversations that have been going on, and then they can engage, go to the website, respond, or something like that. So once a day, there is one email if there is something for you. So one notification for you. As I said, now, we don't want to send 20,000 emails about Village Talks. People would get tired. What we're thinking, and this is based on actually it's an idea of this village in Philadelphia, is that maybe the initiator of the post, because he's showing special interest because he's starting a new topic, he could get, or he or she could get notified right away every time there is a response. You see what I'm saying? And I wanted to do kind of some sort of a checkbox where basically you can also unsubscribe from your own post. You see what I'm saying? It's like if you initiated a topic, someone responds, let's say that you want to, for example, there was this lady, she wanted to go to the theater or something, right? And she wanted to know right away someone was up to go. So in that case, I think she wants to receive every single email because she wants to know if there is another person to come with her. In other cases, you posted something maybe about redistricting of the whatever, maybe you don't want to receive 200 messages. So we're thinking about this checkbox where you can manage that, like, okay, this is my discussion topic, I want to receive an email every time someone interacts, so it's more engaging to you, but also give you the opportunity to do both. It's kind of interesting because when we started really talk, we're thinking, wow, this is easy, you post something, and then when something happens, we send an email, and now we realize it's a lot more nuanced, and we need to find the right balance about, yes, in this moment you wait for the summary, in this moment we do the other thing. So what I would say, Margie, is that we would love if you can keep working with us. Even if you don't feel it's ready to open up to your members, I would suggest you stay with with Christina and with me. We're adding these improvements month after month, and then at one point we'll have it ready to for showtime. So
well, Carol is back now, so I was going to start doing it with her too.
Perfect, cool.
We can discuss it.
I don't know if Carol is on the call, but definitely.
I don't know if she is.
But same message. What I mean is that as I just said here, like I would recommend not opening up to all members at this point. If you don't know yet how it works, but if you do a small group with 1 or 2 leaders of the village and helpful village, we're happy to be in that discussion group so that we can engage, respond, see what you receive, the likes, the comments, the something. So you can contact us. So
yeah, we're going to take it very slow.
Yeah. But we'll be with you, so that'll be fun. Yes.
Excuse me, Manuel. I just have, I think, a quick general type question. I'm
Mike from Montana, is that right?
Yes, I'm very new to the group. Mike Parrish from Kalispell, Montana, My Glacier Village. I'm just curious, new functionality like Village Talk. Do the request for that, does that come out of this group? Is that how it gets started?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
So it comes out of this group. It comes from, we have this page that we mentioned at the beginning of the webinar. Is you can, people have ideas all the time, and that's great. And we have a website, basically it's called ask.helpfulvillage.com. So just people sometimes say, hey, I had this idea, we're thinking in our group, something that we would really appreciate if there was a way to do this, a message board, or if there was this report, or if there was anything. So we receive a lot of those requests, and then from there we try to do as much as we can.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I don't know if it's colder here today or up there in Montana. You need to tell me. Good, but here it's still snowing. It's
really sunny out. We get a lot of inversion normally, so it's pretty nice sunny day. It's probably about 35.
Okay. I don't want to hear that. Here's snowing and gray. Thank you, Mike. Okay, let's move on to the next feature. So we have a new report, volunteers ranking, and this is basically a way for you to see the volunteers that are doing the most activities for your village. I know villages do appreciation parties for their volunteers, and I think that's great. So sometimes recognizing people that are doing a lot for their communities, and sometimes the events, parties, appreciations, or awards is something that I have seen villages doing, and now that's easier with a volunteer ranking because you can see people that have done most, more activity than others. Chris, I think
that's an example of the volunteer ranking.
Okay, that's the same report. Perfect. So just showing the same columns. We recommend you just go there, download yours, and then see how it works. But Chris, what I'm seeing here is that we're showing volunteer service. Okay, number of services completed. Actually, you take it with a. Okay, it's per category. Actually, now I realize.
Yes, that's correct. I took off some users so that for privacy reasons, that's why they're so little.
No. I mean, the privacy is right, but what I'm saying here is that there is you, Christina, right? on computer assistance, and we're saying how many services you did on that category. And then there's another volunteer category, which is driving, where you are also there. So basically you have all the number of services that have done per volunteer category per person and ranked each one of them. Okay, cool. There used to be one day where I wrote every single line of code of Helpful Village, so I would know. but that's cool. It looks good. Okay, we have background checks training articles. So this we can talk about. Let me check. Okay, this is it. Yeah, you put these two. So we wanted to run 2 trainings, show you 2 things today during the session, because we have received some questions and we thought it would be great to share this with you. I actually would start. So the 2 trainings are these ones. One is the background checks. We work with a background check provider that does the database search in the criminal database, national database, and stuff like that with Checker. Now we have built some training docs that explains how that works. I wanted to do a live demo of this today, but actually I think we should start with the other training, which is the deliverability of the emails, right? So we're sending emails out and we want people to, to receive them. But then obviously there is a lot of emails that is being sent in the world right now. And obviously there are spam filters and there's ways for people to, classify the spam promotion, stuff like that. So we want to make sure that your emails always get to the inbox of the member. And there are some recommendations we're making here. There are also some changes we did. First thing we need to do is to protect our reputation of our email address. So make sure that we send good quality emails to people that actually want them, right? So if we have people that you're sending emails to and then they consider them as spam, well, that doesn't help our reputation. So then we cannot go to the inbox anymore. So we just need to make sure that you're sending emails to people that want them. But I'll have a longer explanation about this. Let me go to the first. Let me open this one link so that I have it open. That looks good. And then let me do another thing. It's like I'm gonna open demo. Here. This is a weird page because it's kind of a test page that we're doing. But I wanted to show you before I go to the complicated stuff. This is a slideshow that I was mentioning before. So this becomes now possible in the editable pages. So basically, you can upload some pages, some images, and then the images will show one after the other in the slideshow. So it goes automatically from one picture to the next. Obviously, it can be any picture you want. And then you also have the possibility to have this button if you want to go back to the other picture before or after. You can have different sizes and stuff. So this is one of the improvements that I showed before. You now have it available in the editable pages. If you want to include one in one of your pages or test it, I would say for now you can contact Christina. In the future we will do a website template so that you can include it yourself. For now you need to talk to Christina first, I guess. Perfect. Okay, let's have this conversation about emails and make sure your members receive emails, members, volunteers, and everybody else. So first thing that I would do is that we send emails from the platform. And now we send emails in 2 different ways. When you're sending an email to an individual, the email goes out from the Helpful Village server, right? And it actually goes out with the name of your village. It would say Marine Villages, or it would say, East Rock Creek Village, or the name of your village. But actually the email address that is being used is going to be marinevillages at something helpfulvillage.com, at helpfulvillage.com, etc. So because we're sending it from our domain name. When we're sending an email to the group, we go through Mailchimp. So basically, Helpful Village, you can synchronize your mailing list with Mailchimp. We're going to add people to your Mailchimp mailing list. If you have a new member, we're going to put the right labels and stuff like that on Mailchimp so that it goes out. When you send the email out to a group, we will always go to Mailchimp to send it, and Mailchimp can be configured so that it can be sent with an email address that you chose when you set up your Mailchimp account, and that is usually kind of info@yourvillage.org or something like that. So your members and volunteers will be receiving email addresses from 2 different email addresses. When it's for a group, receive from the email you used for your Mailchimp account. When it's an individual email, kind of, you know, for example, invitation to renew your membership, it's going to come from a Helpful Village email address. Now, one thing that can happen is that you can have members saying, hey, I'm not receiving the emails. We hear that sometimes, right, in the support area. So first thing we invite you to do is like, well, what type of email was that the person was not receiving? Was it an individual email or a Mailchimp email? Because those are different. It helps our support team look in different places. When it's done through Mailchimp, actually, Mailchimp is going to send the emails, and they have their own system by which they will identify if a message bounced or receive a complaint. So I'm going to define that for you. But basically, let me see, Chris, you have the definition, the bouncing reasons here for Mailchimp or not?
Yes, there are.
Oh, that's good. It's here. So in the training doc, Chris, can you put this on the chat also so that everyone has his training doc? I'm going to open this one first. So this is there is a link there for soft and hard bounce in Mailchimp. So, you know, we ask Mailchimp to send this email to the group, and then Mailchimp, when they try to deliver, they get hard bounces and soft bounces. So hard bounces are essentially the reason that I explained here. You know, if you had a typo, and we see that sometimes, you know, you had a typo when you're entering the email address, that email address doesn't exist. So Mailchimp received an error, you know, basically, well, we're not going to try to send to this address, it just doesn't exist. If the email server has blocked delivery because they think you're spamming them, etc., well, that's also a hard bounce. It's not going to help because Mailchimp will stop sending the emails to that email address. There is other reasons for a soft bounce, which is kind of still a bounce. What that means that the person did not receive, but it can be not. Basically, the reasons are not as bad. Basically, for example, if the person's mailbox is full, well, then Mailchimp tried to deliver the message, the mailbox was full, Mailchimp received an error message saying, well, it's full, so you cannot contact, and it's another reason why the email was not delivered. If the email message is too large, if the domain name does not exist, you see what I'm saying? There, you can read the training document. There are different reasons that are listed here. So if you have a member that is calling you about not receiving an email from Mailchimp, you can come here and say, well, did any of these things happen? Now, what does Mailchimp does when there is a bounce? Basically, they're going to try, depending on the hard bounce or the soft bounce, etc. Maybe they're going to retry once or twice. But one thing that they do is that if they see it's not working to send email to this email address, they'll just stop sending. They have a status that is called cleaned, which means, hey, we're trying to send emails to this person, but we can never get it done because, you know, maybe there is a typo or something. So they will label on Mailchimp that this person is clean. Actually, let me show here something. Okay, let me try something more risky also, because I don't know if I remember my password here in Mailchimp. Ugh. Can't believe that. Ooh. Okay, let me not log into Mailchimp. But basically, when you log into Mailchimp, Mailchimp has a label that says if the person is unsubscribed or bounced or something. Actually, Mailchimp is you can find that on Mailchimp for that email address or for that user. And actually, Mailchimp is letting us know to Helpful Village, right? It's like, oh, I tried to send this message, but this person is already Mailchimp Archive, Mailchimp cleaned, and Mailchimp unsubscribed. Okay. So basically, when it's bounced, that email address, the status it will get on Mailchimp is cleaned. It's like, I'm not sending anymore to this person because the message bounced. Okay. There is another status that can happen on Mailchimp, is a Mailchimp unsubscribe. It means when Mailchimp sends a message out to your members, they add in the footer of the message, and they have to, and it's a good idea, an unsubscribe line. So basically, anyone receiving any of your MailChimp messages contains a link that allows them to unsubscribe from that mailing list. So all your members can, basically request that stop receiving them. When you have unsubscribed, basically MailChimp unsubscribe, it means they did it. So they went on the link, they clicked, it's like, I don't want to receive anymore. Now we hear sometimes some members kind of did this, they unsubscribe and accidentally actually they still want to come back. But what I mean is that at the end of the day, they want to resubscribe. I don't know how, I don't think you can totally do that accidentally because you need to click on the link unsubscribe. But anyways, it can happen that someone unsubscribes and wants to come back. If they unsubscribe, this checkbox will be checked. They will not be receiving the email because they asked not to. And then there is a process you can follow if they contact you back. I mean, if someone unsubscribed, you cannot force them to be on MailChimp. So I would not, do the process to say, hey, you unsubscribe, but I really want to send you this. That's really bad practice. I'm not even sure it's legal. So and really, please never do that. If someone doesn't want to receive, don't send them because it will get you in trouble. On MailChimp, on any other thing, it can just not bother people. But if they want to resubscribe, there is a process you can do. So there is a linked also on the training document where basically you can have them fill out a form with their email address. But before you do that, you really need to make sure that the person wants to resubscribe, that they really, are okay with the idea of resubscribing. Okay, there are two other statuses here about MailChimp. First, the checkbox, the MailChimp's checkbox is super important because this is what tells Helpful Village, yes, we want to synchronize this person with our MailChimp mailing list. So this one, mostly, you would invite your members and volunteers to have this one checked. Some cases, you can have a person that tells you, well, you know what, I don't want to, right? Because for their own reasons, they don't want to. So basically, one thing they can do is either they go themselves and they unsubscribe, right? And they take care of it. Sometimes they don't know how to do it or they don't want to do it. They just call the village to do it. So basically, you can always come in here and check this box and save. When you do that, what will happen here is that we will check this box for you, which is Mailchimp Archive. And this again is a Mailchimp status, which is slightly different, which means this is you, the owner of the mailing list, has archived the contact, and it's easier to bring them back and reactivate them, right? You just need to check the box again and save, because Mailchimp is not worried about that because you removed him, so they know basically that you can re-add them again because it's not the end user that wanted to be removed. Perfect. So with that being said, I think we covered the Mailchimp aspect. I can pause for a second if you have questions about the Mailchimp aspect, because the next thing I want to explain is the HV email bounce and the HV email complaint, which I can explain in a minute, but I want to give the opportunity to the audience to just chip in if they want more details about the Mailchimp kind of deliverability management. Okay, we don't, so that's okay. That's fine. We move on with the HV email bounce and complaint. Okay, so you understand that this Mailchimp is every time we send an email to the group, right? Essentially the marketing newsletter, but it can also be a group of volunteers, a group of something. So basically the group emails go through Mailchimp. There is a lot of other emails that go individually, the invitations to renew, the reminders for the events, the service requests are personal, so they also go individually, right? So now one thing that can happen is that email bounces. It's actually the same principle, right, of bouncing and complaint that happens on Mailchimp, but this is Mailchimp takes care of this and they let us know, and this is us, we needed to do it, right, because we're sending the emails. So bounced, it means that same thing, this is the same bounce as Mailchimp. We try to send, we cannot do it. So basically what happens is that we send the emails from the Amazon cloud, because it's where we have our server. Actually, Amazon knows we couldn't deliver this email, because they're the mailman, because it bounced. And if it bounced, Amazon is gonna tell us, right, to check this box automatically. That's great, so you cannot check it, they will do it for us. But this also happens in the same way. You see, you had a typo in the email address, or the mailbox was full, etc. This will be checked for you by Amazon. Now, And it's a good thing that they do it, right? Because you don't want to keep sending emails to someone where you had a typo in the email address or the, etc. Now it can happen that this person wants to be brought back in again because maybe they changed the email address or maybe they corrected the typo. I'm going to show you how to bring back these people. But before I'm doing the definitions. So we did bounce, right? We could not send. There's a different thing that is complaint. So complaint is in a similar way. Mailchimp is trying to send. Mailchimp is notified when there was a complaint on that email. They will check this box. If any of these two boxes are checked, because Amazon checked it for us, we're not sending individual emails to this person. So, if you're saying, hey, the person is not receiving the individual emails, the first thing you should check is that if any of these two things are checked. And then if one of these are checked, well, then, if it's bounced, it's because there is a problem maybe with the email address, a type or something. If there is a complaint, it actually means that this person reported it as a spam. So, you have on the email clients on Gmail and other places, you have a button that says, nah, this is spam. I don't like it. Why do I get this spam? So this is basically your complaints goes to Amazon. Amazon ticks this box for us. If this person complained, we're no longer sending the emails. And this is actually really good. I know for some people, it can be surprising, like, oh, it's terrible that we're not sending emails to these people. But you know what? If we're sending emails to people that have complaints or consider this a spam, then all the emails go to spam. So we're really happy not to send emails and not to get people pissed off, because if you piss them off, then our email reputation and deliverability of the emails gets bad. So it's actually a good thing. Now, let me go back to people management. Let me show you another thing, because you can go here to groups. And then these two things are tag people groups, right? So you had here the Mailchimp unsubscribe. So if I click here, all these are groups. So you can see that this person and this person, they unsubscribe. So the people that unsubscribe. You can look that up. You can print the mailing label. Maybe it's not what I would do, but I would export. You can export a spreadsheet file, because maybe you want to have a volunteer or a staff person calling those people. It's like, oh, was this an accident? I don't know if you want to do it, but you can. And in a similar way, you can go to tag people, and here you have HV email bounced and HV email complaint. So you can click on that one, and it's also going to show you the people that are here. So this person complained, he clicked that this message was spam, and therefore this person, if I open her profile, which I'm going to do, she will have the HV email complaint checkbox checked, and we're not sending any more emails to this person until we don't manage the situation. Now, if you have this person on the phone and they told you, oh yeah, maybe I did it, was an accident, I didn't want to press on that button, I really want to receive these emails, please, fix this. Or you went to her profile, you changed the type on her email address or something, you can do that. And then basically you can come to this group and you can remove this person from the group. And then if you remove this person from the group, it's called Jane complaint, because we're testing, right? And now if we go back to complaint, actually it's her name. So let me type Jane. And now you go to her profile. You see the checkbox is not checked anymore, HV email bounce or HV email complaint. So the system is going to start again trying to send email to this person again. Now, don't remove people from those lists without their permission, because again, if you're really being too spammy, then you're killing the email reputation, and then it will be harder to deliver the good emails we want to send out. Whew. Okay, perfect. I can already tell you I don't have time for the background checks training, but we can do next week. And now we explained the bounced emails. Chris, you're explaining here. I'm just reviewing your training doc to see if it contains everything I just said. You have the group.
One more thing.
In the group, you have the HV email bounce. That's good. Yeah, Chris, I'm listening.
Yeah, maybe you want to mention the whitelist so that sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. That's genius remark. I'm gonna say it, Chris. Thank you. And I promise one of our villagers that I would, because I discussed it with her. The email we put on the provider's whitelist. Once you have resolved the issue, just email complaints. Just looking at your training doc, so that's good. So yes, whitelisting. So what happens, right? So we want to let basically the biggest kind of challenge and topic is sometimes your email client, your email provider trying to be smart, and they need to try to be smart. And that's why they come up with this anti-spam filter and a spam folder, right? Because they need to filter out a lot of crap that is out there in the internet. So that's normal that they have an anti-spam filter. Now we want to go beyond that spam filter. Your members want to receive, your volunteers want to receive. So sometimes one thing that we think is smart is letting your email client, Gmail or other, or Outlook or anything, that this email are legit, that you want to keep receiving from this email address. So sometimes there is a button saying, yeah, this is a legit email, this is good, it is a trusted source, I want to receive it, or you want to move it from the spam folder to the inbox folder, or there are different ways by which you can tell your email client that this is a legit email. So you can do that. One way that some email clients do, and I think this is the case with Comcast and Xfinity and whatever, is that you can add the email address to your list of contacts, because that is what is a whitelist, because in a way it's like you're telling your email customers like, hey, my contacts is people that I know and I trust. So if there is something coming in from anyone that is on this list, it's not spam, it's friendly email, just let it into my inbox. So so this is the whitelisting is something that you should consider, in particular with people that are that have this misclassification of emails in spam. Is you want to invite them to add the email addresses to their contact list. Actually, 2 email addresses, right? If you're sending emails to them with Mailchimp, you want to whitelist the email address that is used for Mailchimp. In this case, could be info@yourvillage.org. And then they also want to add a second contact for the email address we use for the individual emails, which would be yourvillage@a.helpfulvillage.com. So in that case, both email addresses that are sending emails to your members, they're both in the contact list and therefore should go into the inbox. That's it. So thank you, Grace. I forgot that part. So that's awesome. I would say we're approaching the end of the hour, so we are not going to open up a big discussion topic, but if there is a question about all we just said about the email management and deliverability, we can take the question now. As I said, we want to show also for the background tests process, and that we'll do next week rather. So if there are any questions about any of the training we just gave, please unmute and let us know. I hope first, I know it's a little, today's training is a little hard because this anti-spam laws and whatever, something like that has some tech lingo with bounce complaints and stuff like that. So I'm sorry if it's a little boring, but it's important that we get the emails out. So thank you for staying with us. And I don't think we have any questions here because nobody unmuted. So
yeah, I have one.
Okay,
yeah, so as far as the reputation goes, is that so one village not managing their email properly could impact all villages? Is that correct? Yes. Okay.
Yes. So obviously on your own email address, the one you use for Mailchimp, that's your reputation on your email address. So that's on you. But then obviously, yeah, we want to have all villages using Helpful Village. Yeah, what I mean is that they definitely, Google and stuff like that, they give us a reputation and they classify the emails we send. So if we invite you to be very careful, not spamming people. So if we keep a good reputation, it's going to benefit all villages. So that's a good question, Mike.
I have a quick question way back to the slideshow. Is that something that's going to be installed in the future, or is it there now?
Which one?
Slideshow.
The slideshow. Yeah, I think it's already there actually.
Is it? Where is it?
I mean, you will not see it because basically the thing is now works. Actually, you know what we're gonna do is like we're gonna. Yeah, you can wait until the weekend.
Okay, that's fine. I was looking for it and didn't see it and didn't know if I was looking wrong or if it was.
No, it's not visible
not
for now. It's kind of, you need to do some coding trick and stuff like that, but we want to make that easier for you.
Thanks for saving me.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. It's a good question. Yeah, that's why I guess I didn't assume 100% I was saying to contact Christina, because like, it's not on the
Christina's like,
website.
do not.
Yeah, yeah, she's like, I'm gonna kill you after the call. She's way nice. I don't know. I mean, she's nicer than what I deserve. But William, yeah, Bill, I think you wanted to ask a question. William Mehmet from Mount Pleasant, DC. But I think you're muted. Oh, maybe not, actually. I don't think you're muted, but I cannot hear you. I cannot. Oh, that's a tough crowd. We have 20 heads kind of, you know.
Yes, Manuel, there's a question in the chat from Gary about if there is a report for the bounce emails, but it's not a report, it's on the tag people list. So maybe you can show it again so that they can know how to access.
Yeah, so you can go to tag people group, and then there you can print it. So let me do it again. Admin, people management. Ooh. And it's the end of the hour. I need to go very soon. So groups, there we go. And then here we have this HB email complaint. I think this list is going to be empty now, but anyways. And then here you can do export CSV. So CSV stands for comma separated value, which is a spreadsheet file that contains all the people that are in this group. So for any actually of your groups, you can always print the people. If you want to have all the people that are subscribed in Mailchimp, you also come here. And then there's 2 people here, and then you can do export to a spreadsheet file. So you can produce spreadsheet file. Okay. William, I don't know if your mic, you brought it back to life.
He wrote on the chat, how about emails that go to Gmail promotions? Is there a trick to get those emails into primary?
It's an excellent question, William, because it's all about reputation. So what I mean is that we need to be super careful. And this is what we have been doing, is that, you know, before what we're doing before is we were sending this email out to people that complain and stuff like that. So that was hurting a little bit our reputation. We're not doing that for thousands of people. We're not sharks, you know, spamming the world. But now we're taking more good citizen measures that improve our score. One of them is what we just said, stop sending emails when people don't want them. The other thing that we're doing is we're allowing people to unsubscribe, right? I said that Mailchimp does it. We're gonna start doing the same from Helpful Village, so that if someone receives an individual email, they can also go in and say, no, please, I don't want to receive this email anymore, and they can manage their subscription. So it's annoying in a way, because some people will not receive stuff, but in a way, it's gonna help our reputation through the email. So just the thing is, as I said, what helps is like the whitelisting, putting people in the contact list. If you have people in some of the email clients, you know, moving the email from promotion to the inbox and stuff like that, you see, every cue you can give the email client that it's that is a good email you want to have in your inbox, helps on reputation. Thank you, William. Okay, I think we probably need to go because we are beyond the hour. We don't want to go too much beyond that, and then I think the content today was crazy, because sometimes we have more fun with the slides and buttons and stuff like that. And today we're talking about the anti-spam, Mailchimp, bounce, complaint, whatever. So it was a little crazy. Thank you for staying with us. And we invite you to join us for the webinar next week. I'll be speaking less. Gary will be speaking a lot more. The villages will be asking the questions. So I'll be there to answer them, but it's a different type of event. Okay, thank you, everybody. Happy 20th anniversary once again, and see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.